Oh man, what are we gonna do about these Dodgers, man? What are we gonna do with these Dodgers? They lost yet again early in the playoffs. We're supposed to have a deep run. We had the team. I know this was kind of a weird year starting off because we let go of some guys that we thought were going to stay around, and we were kind of a slight rebuild, whatever you want to call it. But we showed signs of great life throughout the year, and we made runs and won 100 plus games, and it seemed like we were going to go on for another title run out of nowhere. And here we are again, falling short early on in the playoff hunt, getting swept by the Diamondbacks and the NLDS. So I've watched from afar, and I've given just what I picked up from what I've seen from you tweeting and things. But you've been following a lot closer than I have. The floor kind of is yours. Like, wherever you want to go with this, just let it all out, man. How you feel about these Dodgers right now, bro?
Dude, there's so many things you could discuss. But just getting swept by your divisional rival, the Arizona Diamondbacks, a team that won 84 games, a team that once again you dominated during the regular season, in your season series with them, to show up in the divisional round and completely lay an egg once again. It was like I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked, but I'm a little bit surprised, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Just how vacant, I guess they were. I had my concerns about the bats not showing up in the postseason as most people do.
Mm-hmm.
But as we discussed with Jake post trade deadline, my main concern was that the starting rotation of pitching wasn't going to be good enough, and that we didn't do enough at the trade deadline to bring in an ace or two,
Mm-hmm.
and that showed a gaping hole for us in that divisional series where we had our starting pitchers go through 4 1/3 innings or 4 2/3 innings and give up
Mm-hmm.
14 runs. It was again, it was like I'm not shocked by this. I don't know. I think my dad asked me like before the playoffs started if the Dodgers were gonna win it all, and I was like, I don't know, man. Like baseball is so hard to predict because a lot of it is about rhythm and who gets hot at the right time. But the
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers have shown us nothing in the past for us to believe that the bats were going to come through, and the starting rotation was a shell of itself because we had so many injuries and we were relying on young pitchers to kind of carry the load for us, and our veterans who had shaky postseason records in Clayton Kershaw and then Lance Lynn, who was giving up 3 home runs per 9 innings over the course of the year. It was inevitable that he would give up home
Mm-hmm.
runs in his start. Wasn't expecting it to be as explosive as it was, giving up 4 in 1 inning.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this you could have predicted some of this happening. Maybe not all of it, but you could have predicted some of this if you were a Dodger fan.
Slight funny thing. One of my favorite songs on Drake's new album is "Tried Our Best." Can you say the Dodgers tried their best with their efforts this postseason, or you think they kind of fell short? You think they left a lot on the table with their efforts during this run?
They left a little bit on the table. I think to your point, starting out the episode, you're correct. Like I myself didn't see the Dodgers as making this World Series push this year when the
Mhm.
season before the season started. I think
Right,
I even said I thought the Padres would win the division, which I was
right.
wrong on that. They didn't even make the
Mhm.
playoffs, but
Okay.
I didn't expect the Dodgers to have a World Series run this year. I thought the Braves were the cream of the crop, which they had an early exit as well.
Mhm.
But I thought the Dodgers would be good, maybe make the playoffs, but weren't going to make that full World Series push.
Mhm.
But to see them win 100 games still, I think for all the criticisms that Dave Robert has taken, this is one of the better, if not the best, season that he's managed as a Dodgers manager to
Mhm.
kind of piece together starting rotations and uh, go through the tumultuous part of the season where the bullpen was horrendous at the beginning, um, and piecing together lineups. I thought he did a great job to get this team to 100 wins.
Yeah.
But then the same postseason woes reared their ugly head. So it was a great regular season, but we're tired as Dodgers fans of having great regular seasons to then have a complete no show in the playoffs. So it's like all for naught. Like it doesn't matter how great you were in the regular season if you get the same result in the postseason.
Yeah, yeah. Salute to Dave. He bounced back. There were a lot of questions before the season about if he was the right guy for the job. There's a lot of questions about if he should be fired during this season, as they are potentially in a slight rebuild, as we discussed early on. It seemed like, but like again to our Drake, he kind of drew Picasso this year and drew put together a nice picture for this squad that should have. Come to a grand conclusion as we had hoped, but they ended up drawing a blank in the end when most needed, and they fell short. So it is what it is. Do you think he still is the right guy to lead this team going forward?
I personally, so I'm always like a Dave Roberts supporter because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's up to the players to put the ball in play. It's up to the
Mm-hmm.
players to throw and get guys out.
Mm-hmm.
He's had questionable decisions in terms of pulling guys too early or pulling guys too late in terms of the starting pitchers in the postseason.
Yep.
But as far as the offense, like that's not on him. You can question some decisions here and there to pinch hit for guys or not pinch hit for guys. But you have Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts are big money guys going 1 for 21 in the
Come on, man.
series, man. Like you cannot win anything if your stars are gonna no show in the playoffs like that, and they know it. Like they put the blame on themselves, and it's nice to hear them take accountability, but like it's not gonna put a smile on our faces. Like we still got toasted in the first round once again.
They
But
were polar opposites of what we saw in the regular season. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely was.
okay, I see. I see you're gonna continue this trend throughout. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah,
Uh,
none of the plans of what we thought they would be. So oh well.
but yeah. As far as your question about Dave Roberts, I will say that I'm okay with them moving on from him if they're of the belief that you need a new voice, like in the dugout. You need someone that's gonna rally the troops and get these guys fully prepared for the postseason to play. Uh, Bring some passion and like in something. If it's more of a intangibles thing that you feel like you're not getting from Dave, that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. I still don't know who the immediate replacement is. Like people have thrown out Gabe Kapler, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know who like the immediate replacement is. Who's gonna um, still bring you like the regular season success that these Dodgers have had? Like they've won 9 divisional titles in this
Mm-hmm.
past decade. And they've gone to the World Series 3 times. Like it hasn't been like all failures. It's just like the failures have been loud when they've happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I could understand if it's a intangibles thing. You want to bring in a fresh voice for this Dodgers team. But for the most part, like he's been a successful manager. It's been the guys not showing up when it matters most in the playoffs, especially knocking guys in with runners in scoring position. So I'm okay with it if they move on from him. But I don't think he's the main issue
Mm-hmm.
for what the Dodgers have dealt with.
Well, if he's not the main issue and we keep him, is it possible the Dodgers get on the phone with Shohei and say, we're calling for you still, and when he's on the squad, and that he's the guy that they should turn to and send the big money for, as we assume they would do during the season? Is Shohei still somebody we should look at as somewhat of the savior for this Dodgers squad?
It's obviously like you should do your due diligence and seek to get this guy in a Dodgers uniform. I
Mm-hmm.
think the price is going to go up for Shohei a little bit after seeing the Dodgers fail in the first round once
Right.
again. Him and his team are going to probably want to drive that price up if they want him to be a Dodger.
Mm-hmm.
But the one concern is that with his surgery and his injury this year, he's not going to be pitching at all in
Mm-hmm.
2024. So you're not going to get the dual threat generational talent that he's been. You're going to get the generational bat that he is still, and I'm sure he'll still hit for power at a great rate. But you're not going to get the starting pitching. But I think it's still in the Dodgers' interest to acquire a talent like that. He's still uh, in his prime and a superstar and arguably the best player in the sport. And I think still having a bat like that added to that lineup makes them even more dangerous. To have a Mookie, Freddie, Shohei top of the lineup would be electric. and if they come through in the playoffs. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think they should still target him in the offseason, but the priority has to be starting pitching as well
got it.
too.
Yeah, we surely would say amen if we got him. So I believe that he definitely would
Absolutely.
be a great piece to have him in the building, and we could let him take his time, sign to a nice little long, even if it's not fully 10-year, whatever, even if it's like a 7 year, that we can max him out on whatever the money that he wants. Someone that's a little somewhat long term that allows him to recover as he needs to, and then get on the mound, as we definitely could use his arm there. Definitely we appreciate it, and I'd be excited to have him, as we said. So definitely was a great first option. Looking elsewhere, as you kind of said. Though the baseball is not, it doesn't have a salary cap, giving a lot of money to Shohei could eliminate the opportunity for other people. Would you still want to have Shohei? It eliminates the Dodgers, spreading that money around to a few other pieces that could add more depth to this lineup?
It's a good question. I do think he is worth it because of how generational a talent he is.
Mm,
And it's not that the Dodgers have an issue with positional players on the roster. Like while they didn't show up at the plate, Mookie and Freddie are MVP candidates as well themselves.
mhm.
And they have guys up and down the lineup who are talented and who are cheap. And I think they can bring back on team friendly deals like Jason Hayward, like JD Martinez. I think they should bring Kike back as well too.
Mhm.
Um, some of the bullpen guys like Joe Kelly, who they brought back. Those guys they can bring back on team friendly deals. You're gonna have Clayton Kershaw, who I think his AAV, his uh, average annual like value for his
I thought
contract is
that was an AARP joke. I was, I know he's getting up there, but dang.
no, it's an MLB term, but no, his average annual value, like for his contract, I believe is like 37 million. So
Mhm.
I would not bring him back for that. Like he's a Dodgers legend, but there's you can't justify bringing him back for that much money because he doesn't play the full season with his injuries that he deals with
Yeah,
in his age, and then we've seen like we have to be honest about what he's been in the postseason. He's not the same Kershaw in the postseason that he
correct.
is in the regular season. So I think you can bring him back, but it would have to be like on a team friendly deal. I don't know. He hasn't decided. He could be retiring. He may decide to play for someone else, but that would be a large chunk of money that um, you would have at your disposal if you're cutting down his contract from
Mhm.
37 to something more reasonable. Um, but yeah, I think you should still go after a guy like Otani. But the priority or the 1B priority should be starting rotation, like filling out that starting rotation of pitchers.
And tying it all back into where we started again, all of that would be needed to help us make a full run going forward because we want to actually get over the hump again. We had a run that people might even call a fluke now as we look at things during that shortened season in 2020, and since then we've come up short every year since. Looking at that, as you also acknowledged, a few teams have come up short in these playoff runs.
Yep.
You had a thought about the playoff format that you thought may need to change, or just your thoughts on how things continue to play out in the recent years with this playoffs as they've been going.
Yeah, yeah. The top five team records in this MLB season all got eliminated within either the wild card round or the divisional round between the Rays, the Brewers, the Dodgers, the Orioles, and the Braves.
Mhm.
The Rays and the Brewers maybe not great for the argument in terms of changing the format because they were in the wild card round, so that was like just a day or two like after the season ended. There wasn't much of a
Right.
layoff there. But as far as the main argument that's going around right now, the week or so layoff that these high seeded teams in the Orioles, the Braves, the Dodgers had, it clearly plays a factor in a sport where rhythm and timing is crucial.
Mhm.
Not playing for a week, uh, not playing competitive baseball for a week, definitely is going to throw off your rhythm a bit. And it's not an excuse. It's just like an inevitability.
Mhm.
And the one outlier was the Astros. So like if you want to not fully acknowledge that as something that plays a factor and say
Right.
the Astros did it, why can't everyone else? I'd say that they're the outlier in terms of 3 out of the 4 teams getting
Right.
bounced, 2 of them being swept. So
Mhm.
it makes it a difficult argument when you have 2 of those teams getting swept, because what's extending the series to a best of 7 versus a best of 5 gonna do if you lost the first 3? Like,
Right.
you get one more shot, but
Right. You still could.
um, you still could end up getting swept, or maybe you win one game, but
Ends up
the
being just a late night for those guys. So
the,
tough.
the
Tough.
other the other team dominated you in the end, regardless of whether it's best of 5 or best of 7. So I think the main thing I could see the MLB doing is going back to what it was before, where the wild card round was just a winner take all, like the winner advances in that one game instead of a best of 3.
Mhm.
So you're getting rid of the 5 to 7 day layoff
Yep.
for the divisional series. Um, but anything else, I think wouldn't affect it too much as far as extending it to a 7 game series, or would be too drastic in terms of getting rid of the wild card altogether and just taking the divisional winners into the playoffs. So, yeah, that's my thought.
Got it. My thought with that is, what will Pluto do? Okay, I'll shut you out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's Pluto in this situation?
I don't know, but no. On a serious note, yeah, I think the format does work as is, and teams need to step up. Maybe if you don't have a little fear of heights and aren't stepping up to the plate as need be, and that their shortcomings are showing when the lights get brightest, and that's what teams would be. Though they are having early on success, so yeah, they are just overcome those things and get the job done when most called upon and figure it out. So I like the format. They just expanded the format, didn't they? Wasn't it more
A couple years
condensed?
ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think opening it up as it has been, though it does actually in a way favor those teams that are now in those early games to keep develop that rhythm. I still think it works out, and those teams that win all year long have to just, as if they are as good as they have been, need to figure out ways to maintain that even through that little layoff that it's supposed to actually benefit them. It's supposed to be a break, as you said. So
Mhm.
yeah, we'll see how they adjust, but I'm fine with it as is, and look forward to see how these things continue to go going forward. So yeah, tough things for the Dodgers, tough things for a lot of the top teams that got bounced early on. We see the bracket here. How do you think the rest of it plays out?
Um, I like what I would like to happen is
Of course,
anyone but the Astros, of
got
course,
it, got it.
winning it all. I like the Phillies team. I love like the passion and heart they play with. Like, people have, especially Dodgers fans, have noted, like, if the Dodgers had a guy like Harper, like Bryce Harper, who
Mhm.
was playing with some passion out there, and
Right.
uh, it would be great to see in this Dodgers dugout. But I like the Phillies. I don't want to see the Diamondbacks do well. Like, they just swept us, and they're our divisional rivals. So I don't want to see them do well. They're a fun
You know,
team
root for the
though.
team that beat you. That's not a thing in baseball.
Nah, I
Uh,
can't. At least not me personally.
got it.
But I think the better teams overall are probably the Astros by a smidge, and then the
Mhm.
Phillies. So we could get a World Series repeat because it was the Astros and Phillies last year.
Right.
But the Rangers have a really high-powered offense. I'd have the concerns about their bullpen against the Astros, but
Mhm.
um, I guess my pick would be uh, I would like to see the Rangers versus the Phillies. So I'll go with that. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I can't give no full breakdown. I haven't paid attention to other teams enough to say, but I agree with you. The aim, but the Astros for sure would be a good time. So
Yeah.
looking forward to that. Yeah, we'll see how things adjust going forward with the Dodgers and what moves they make to get back on top and stay up top as we believe they should be. And just excited for I guess just going through the process again. It's tough right now for a lot of folks. A lot of folks are mad and all of that. But there still is a lot of hope for this squad to turn it around quickly and finally get it right next season. So we'll see what
Yeah.
they do that. We'll see how the rest of these series play out. And yeah, just excited for all that's on the way. Any other comments you want to add?
Yeah, just with you saying that, like, I wasn't really mad. I feel like I was numb this time, like,
Mm-hmm.
because a part of me expected, like, the woes at the plate from this
You
team
said you
once
said you
again.
said I don't give a F. You said that's what you said this time around.
I did not say that. I did not say that, no, but, this time it was like I kinda, like, saw this coming in a sense,
Mhm.
and I think for me, like 2019 against the Nationals when they got bounced in the divisional series, that was probably like the most painful one. But last year hurt too, losing to a divisional rival in the Padres in the first round. This year, with how kind of a skeleton crew the starting rotation was, I expected some of those woes. I didn't expect Kershaw to give up 6 runs in the first inning of the first game, but
Sure.
it was like, yeah, I was just a little bit numb to it. But I think with that, other than Dave Roberts, who we discussed, like I think there probably are some heads that need to roll within the organization. I wouldn't say, yeah. I mean, Lance Lynn, I was
even trying to do that, but I said
I get you.
Yeah.
I was skeptical of a guy like Lance Lynn when they brought him in. Like they wanted him to eat innings, which he can do, but when you're eating those innings and giving up home runs, it's not beneficial. And so
Correct.
I don't think that they're going to pick up his option this year, and that's another 16 million, I believe, that's available at our disposal to use. That'll be a positive, an addition by subtraction. But I think heads need to roll in terms of potentially maybe hitting coach as well too. We see that their approach to the plate in the postseason is clearly not getting the job done.
On the plate too gently. They gotta go up there with a little more aggressiveness and try to get the job done rather than trying to be cute with it. So
you're gonna try to get all 23 of them.
I'm close. I tried to. I'm not gonna get all of them, but I got at least half, so I'm good now.
All right, yeah. Dodgers got to say screw the world and get rid of some of these guys in the head, some of these heads in the dugout for sure. But I think they have to make some changes. You can't go into this next season with the completely same staff, complete same roster. Like they're gonna have to make some moves there. And Andrew Friedman is not without blame. Like what we talked about post trade deadline, I felt like they needed to be more aggressive in getting starting pitching, because that's the name of the game, especially when you get into the postseason. The bats, you need to show up, but if you're giving up runs too, like you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage. So some changes are going to have to be made going into next season.
Yeah, he's got to get in the first person shooter mode and really not sending these guys out the building that have been messing with this team for too long. And redisperse that to some people that can really help this team get over the hump as need be. So we'll see how that plays. And how can I do this?
Hey, you got any more questions for me? I could probably extend it a little more if you try to get a couple.
I'll say for fans, as people get pushed out the building and Friedman on the flip side afterwards get in the Santa mode and give some bags out to folks to bring it back in to help build this team back up. Let's not get too excited once we start getting some new names in the building that could give us some hope. No Bahamas promises. Let's make sure we stay
all right, man. You're doing too much. You're doing way too much.
I think that's all of them though. So I'm good now.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know if the Dodgers want to do that as far as vacation spot, but I mean, you could go to Virginia Beach if you want to, because they got plenty of time. They got plenty of time.
I think that's it. But yeah, excited again to see how that plays out. I'm sure. I can't figure it out. But go ahead. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it. Yeah,
the Diamondbacks surely slimed us out in that series. Absolutely. So
hey, yo, out.
They did, man. What do you want me to do?
Maybe you could say that sometimes they're going to get paid after the season. They're going to be a couple of rich baby daddies after the season on that Diamondback squad. If anything, well, slime you out is crazy.
What you want me to do, man? They got us out of here in 3 games quickly. That was another. We only put up 2 runs in every game. They scored a total of 6 runs in that series, man. It was. Yeah, I Dodgers fans have a right to be pissed off if they were pissed off, and have a right to want to see some major changes if they want to get rid of Dave. Like I said, I like Dave, but if they want to get rid of Dave, fine. They need some major changes going into next season. So
yeah, the Dodgers need to BBL love. Guys, switch it up and give a good look to the. I almost
All
had
right,
it.
guys,
Almost had it.
you're reaching
All right,
now.
we're done. We're done. We're done. So that's it, y'all. I tried to get y'all in there, but a lot of good stuff for y'all. We'll be back with all more NFL, NBA stuff. Some announcements to make as we go forward as well. That we're very we've been working on for some time quietly, and finally can bring the daylight. Oh, there we go. That's the last one. I bring the daylight, and excited to get all that done. So we'll see you guys again real soon. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as you guys do. We'll see you in the comments. We definitely appreciate y'all for chatting with us after each episode. And yeah, thank you for tuning in as you guys do. Like, review, subscribe, comment, all of that. And yeah, we'll see you guys again next week. Appreciate y'all, man. Peace. Oh my gosh.
Nah, that BBL love was a stretch.